From stories across the globe to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Vinaprarachi. And now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news. The program to provide 100,000 job opportunities for low-income earners in the state sector will commence tomorrow. The President requests all chairpersons of the district coordinating committees to actively involve in the process to build a national economy. Red notice is issued to arrest 14 suspects in hiding overseas and operating criminal activities in Sri Lanka. Colombo stock market will be digitalized from the 17th. Heavy showers in many areas tomorrow. A 7-day state mourning period announced on the demise of former Indian President Pranab Mukherjee. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. The program of providing 100,000 employment opportunities aimed at eradicating poverty will commence from tomorrow. The government has stated that job recipients extending cash or any kind of bribe to any party will be considered as a disqualification. The objective of the program is to empower those who live in absolute poverty with no formal education and skills through the Multi-Purpose Development Task Force established by the government. Job recipients have been selected on the basis of poverty and education levels. Job recipients have been selected on the criteria of unskilled workers who have no formal education or with education over GCE ordinary level examination, must be not less than 18 years of age and not more than 40 years of age on the closing date for applicants, being an employed member of a family eligible to receive Samurdhi benefits but does not receive it, or being a member of a family receiving Samurdhi benefits but an employed being an unemployed member of a family with elderly, sick parents or disabled members and be a permanent resident of the area of application. One individual with the relevant qualifications from the family will be considered for the training program. Based upon available job opportunities in proximity to the applicant's residence and his choice of field of training, the individual's vocational program will be decided. The training program will be conducted at the training centers in the same area of the applicant's residence or at any nearby training center. Following a successful training, the applicants will be employed in individual area of residence or in nearby areas. During a 6-month continuous training program, a monthly allowance of 22,500 rupees will be paid for the job recipients. Following successful completion of the training program, trainees will have the opportunity to be appointed to an accepted permanent government position in his own resident area with a non-primary skilled salary of 35,000 rupees and allowances. After a satisfactory and uninterrupted career record of 10 years, the individuals will be eligible for pension. According to the presidential media division, the employments will only be awarded based on above criteria, and any form of bribery will result in immediate rejection of the job opportunity. Chairman of Raigam Group, Dr. Ravi Lenage, said that the process to distribute job opportunities based on the influence of the politicians will be averted through this new initiative of the President. He said that in his belief as a businessman, the demand for the business persons will also increase in the country in future. He said that the increase in demand, the opportunity for business will also expand. Accordingly, he added that the President initiative will assist the national economy of the country at a time when a negative economic growth is expected during this epidemic situation.
Today marks the Binara Full Moon Poya Day. As denoted in the history of the Buddha Sasana, the conveyance of the Buddhist priesthood and higher ordination to 500 women, including Mahaprajapati Gautami Devi and the Bhikkhuni order, was inaugurated on a Poya Day such as today. Lord Buddha extended his consent for the establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sasana on a request tendered by Ananda Thera. The Ashta Garu Dharma on behalf of Bhikkhunis was also imposed on a day such as today. This Poya is considered as the interim Poya of the vast season. Buddhists the world over engaging meritorious acts which include Amisa and Pratipatti Puja in view of Binara Full Moon Poya Day. The 201st Dhamma Sermon of the Amadam Sisira Dhamma Sermon series, organized on each full moon Poya Day upon a concept of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, was held at the temple trees today. A large gathering was present to listen to the Dhamma Sermon. The Dhamma Sermon was delivered by Chief Incumbent of the Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharaya, Venerable Professor Kollipitiya Mahinda Sangarakita Thera. chief incumbent of the Kalaniya Rajamahavihara, Venerable Professor Kollupitiya Mahinda Sangarakita Thera said that the Lord Buddha has preached that the Satara Sangraha Vastu becomes a power if a person follows these noble acts. He said that he has recognized Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa is an exemplary political leader who followed the preaching of the Lord Buddha. He said that the new parliamentarians should be inspired from such exemplary political leadership amidst them.
අනුන් සඳහාත් කැපවෙච්ච චරිතයක් බවට පත්වෙච්ච කෙනෙක්. සමානාත්මතාවය එතුමාට ඉතාමත්ම හොඳින් තිබුණු නිසා වර්තමානයේ දැන් ඉන්නවනේ 81ක් විතර නවක മന്ത്രിතුමන්ලා ඒ හැම කෙනෙක්ම ආදර්ශයට ගන්න ඕනේ අපේ අගමැතිතුමා.
The live telecast on Binara Poya Day Sadharma Varsha, organized by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, was held at the Askirima Pirivan Vihare at Kandy. A number of programs, including the observance of Atta Sil devotees taking part in Buddha Puja, conducting Dhamma dialogues and other religious activities were telecast live throughout the day. Minister Keheliya Rambukwala was also present at this event. The symbolical distribution of presents for the Buddhist monks receiving Piravan education was held under the patronage of the minister. Director General of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Ajit Naragala, was also present at this occasion.
And meanwhile, the police headquarters says that Criminal Investigation Department has obtained red notices to apprehend 14 members of criminal gangs operating organized crimes and drug trafficking in the country while hiding in foreign countries. The red notices will be directed to the Interpol accordingly. Suranga alias Vele Suranga, Paranamanage Chaminda alias Kalusaranga, Surasingha Arachige Gihan Fonseca, Somasupaya alias Yogu, Kendi Fernando alias Bumma, Singharaja Amal Saminda Silva alias Kudu Anju are several members of the criminal gangs. Dinuka Madushan, Nalaperumatantrige Danushka Roshan alias Keselvate Dinuka, Ellavela Lianage Dharmasiri Pereira alias Dharme, Sujiva de Soiza alias Koska de Suji are also in the list. Red notices were also obtained on Madhumage Lasanta Chandra Pereira alias Angodaloka, Balachandra Pushparaja alias Podikunda and Selvaraja Dhaneshan. SSP Ruwan Gunasekara said that relevant investigation officers have taken steps to apprehend the suspects and produce them before the country's judicial process. He said that many special police operations were conducted in the Western Province within the past 2 months. He said that the investigation officers have managed to uncover a large amount of assets belonging to the suspected criminals earned through organized criminal activities and drug trafficking. He said that the police have also uncovered 102 bank accounts belonging to drug trafficking, and a sum of more than 2,600 billion rupees have been circulated among these accounts. He added that steps have been taken to suspend a sum of 96 million at present.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa requests all chairpersons of the district coordinating committees to actively involved in the process to build a national economy. The president said that all the road networks in the country will be renovated within the next 4 years. The president made these remarks during a discussion held to brief on the duty and the responsibility of the chairpersons of the district coordinating committees. The relevant discussion was held at the presidential secretariat yesterday. The president pointed out that the chairpersons of the district coordinating committees have an immense responsibility towards the development of the country while efficiently utilizing the state mechanism along with the ministers and state ministers. The president further pointed out that young parliamentarians have been appointed for the committee chairpersons as they could contribute their entire time in this regard. The government has identified issues which are general and specific to many districts. The main objective of the government is to provide prompt solutions to resolve the issues pertaining to drinking water and irrigational requirements, restructuring of irrigation, invasion of wild elephants into villages, and shortcomings in education and health sectors. The president mentioned that the chairpersons of the district coordinating committees were appointed at the same time when the ministers and state ministers were appointed in order to fulfill their objectives. The President, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, said that the government has observed that most of the issues pertaining to the general public are simple general issues. He said that the chairpersons of the district coordinating committees have an immense responsibility in resolving these issues while efficiently utilizing the state mechanism along with the ministers and state ministers. Accordingly, he said that many of these issues can be resolved through such efforts. The President indicated that the main objective of his policy statement, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, is to build a national economy and national industries while focusing on plantation and agriculture sectors.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ජාතික ආර්ථික ගොඩනංවන්නත් ජාතික
Several development programs initiated by the government until 2015 have been suspended. Speaking at the discussion, head of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival, Basil Rajapaksa said that the suspended constructions should be reinitiated and completed by allocating necessary funds from the upcoming budget. Addressing the chairpersons of the district coordinating committees, the President said that the trust within the general public on the politicians should be ensured by working closely on the activities of the ministries and its officials. The chairpersons of the district coordinating committees assured their commitment to extend the fullest support as expected by the President towards the development of the country. Secretary to the President, P.B. Jayasundara, Secretary to the Treasury, S.R. Artigala, and Secretary to the Defence, retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne, were also present at this occasion.
And a kind request has been made to the people requesting not to invite the President for private functions. In addition to his daily official tasks, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has given priority to expedite development projects and resolve issues of grassroots level public issues. The Presidential Secretariat has made the request to refrain from inviting him from private functions in order to ease his task towards the nation. Accordingly, a kind request has been made to all to refrain from inviting the President to spend time attending functions, prize givings, weddings and parties in order to allocate his time to fulfill national duties. The announcement as issued by the Presidential Media Division has indicated that this request has been directed to those who expect the participation of the President as he is committed towards the welfare of the general public and to lead the initiatives carried out through the Presidential Secretariat. And meanwhile, the Meteorology Department says that the prevailing showery weather condition in the country expected to increase tomorrow. Meanwhile, several villages in Badulla and Hambantota districts have experienced a gusty windy condition. Showers or thunder showers will occur in most places in over, eastern, central and Sabaragamu provinces tomorrow. Heavy showers over 100 millimeters of rain may occur in some places in the country. Fairly heavy showers or more than 75 millimeters will occur in some places in the western, northwestern and southern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur in the sea areas around the island. Wind speed will be up to 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. The other sea areas around the island can be moderately rough at times. Meanwhile, 32 houses were damaged due to the gusty windy condition experienced last night in the Ganeshapuram area in Vaunia. The Disaster Management Centre in Vaunia has taken steps to provide relief to the affected. Damages have occurred in more than 20 houses in Ridimali at the Divisional Secretariat Division in Badulla district due to the heavy windy condition. Several houses were damaged due to the heavy wind blew across the Beddevilla village in Ella Division Secretariat last night. Several large trees were uprooted due to the wind accompanied by heavy showers. The movement of the Modra Spring Valley Road was also disrupted due to the falling of trees in several areas of the road. Also, 37 shops in Siribopura and another 10 houses in Mairapura and Suchi in Hambantota were also damaged due to the strong winds gushed through the areas in the afternoon today.
The Colombo stock market is expected to be digitalized from September 17th onwards. The invitation for the relevant occasion was presented to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday. The digitalization process commenced under the instructions of the Prime Minister. These remarks were made when the representatives of the Securities and Exchange Commission met the Prime Minister to inform on the conclusion of the digitalization of the Colombo stock market. During the meeting with the Prime Minister, Chairman of the Commission Viraj Jayaratne and Director General of the Commission Chintaka Mendes mentioned that the proceedings of the stock market were disrupted for a period of 52 days due to the COVID-19 outbreak, and the completely digitalized stock exchange process will step into the world with a new outlook. They have also mentioned that the Colombo stock market aims to render convenient and efficient service along with the development process in the country and carrying out dealing with the global markets. We'll be back with more stories after a break.
Welcome back, and we now move on to the COVID-19 pandemic, the world update. More than 25.6 million cases of coronavirus have been confirmed around the world, with over 855,000 people have died from the disease thus far. Meanwhile, nearly 18 million people have recovered from the COVID-19 disease. The total number of COVID-19 cases in the United States surpassed 6 million just today, just 3 weeks after the hit 5 million mark, with the death toll reaching over 187,000. The United States remained the world's most hit country in the most cases and deaths in the world, with the death toll accounting for more than 20% of the global total. In Brazil, the COVID-19 death toll surpassed 121,000 deaths yesterday after 553 patients died in the previous 24 hours, bringing the total number of fatalities up to 121,381. In the same 24 hours period, tests detected 45,961 new cases of infection, adding up to the total case load to 3.9 million. In India, the COVID-19 tally rose to 3.6 million and the death toll rose to 65,000 in the last 24 hours. As many as 78,512 new cases and 971 deaths were recorded over the past 24 hours across the country. The total number of coronavirus cases in Russia passed the 1 million mark after 4,729 new infections were reported in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, a World Health Organization survey of 105 countries has indicated that 90% have experienced a disruption to their health services as a result of the coronavirus, with low and middle income countries the most affected. Up to 70% of the service interruptions have been for essential services including routine immunization, diagnosis and treatment for non-communicable diseases, family planning and contraception, treatment for mental health disorders and cancer diagnosis, the treatments, the United Nations Health Agency said. Children in Europe and parts of Asia have begun to return to school this week after months away from the classrooms. Chinese students began a full return to regular classes following 2 weeks without new cases of local transmission in the country, including the central Chinese city of Wuhan, the original epicenter of the coronavirus epidemic. Students in France and Belgium are also due to resume classes after the summer break, with pupils in England and Wales returning later in this week after 6 months away. Regulations differ in each country, but most children over the age of 12 as well as the staff are required to wear face masks. Physical distancing and regular hand washing have also been made a part of the new routine.
Back again with more local stories. State Minister of Urban Development, Coast Conservation, Waste Disposal and Community Sanitation, Nalaka Godaheva, says that the initiation of housing projects targeting middle-income earners is the main task expected to be carried out under his ministry. State Minister Nalaka Godaheva made these remarks after calling upon chief prelates of the Malvatta and Askeri chapters. State Minister Nalaka Godaheva said that the ministry handed over by the President and the Prime Minister is a large scope, but the ministry has been established by comprising the Megapolis Ministry established during the previous government period along with coast conservation and waste management. He said that many projects including urban beautification and environmental protection carried out under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa during his presidential tenure expected to be completed. The State Minister said that he has directed his attention to recommence the housing projects which were disrupted during the previous government period, considering the prevailing housing issue. He said that the ministry is expecting to initiate a special program to extend housing facilities for the middle-income earners for lesser price rates under long-term loans installment process. Speaking about waste management, the State Minister said that the responsibility in this regard has been distributed among many institutions, with Pradesh Sabhas holding the primary responsibility. He said that many issues had occurred as such organizations had failed to take appropriate decisions in this regard. He also said that the ministry holds the responsibility to provide prompt and efficient solutions through appropriate decision-making processes.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has conveyed his condolences over the demise of former Indian President Pranab Mukherjee. A 7-day state mourning was announced by the central government of India after former President Pranab Mukherjee died at a Delhi hospital yesterday. He was 85-year-old at his demise. Former Indian President late Pranab Mukherjee's funeral was held in Delhi this afternoon. His mortal remains were kept at Delhi residence, where political leaders paid their last respects to the former president. In a statement, the Prime Minister has recalled how the late former Indian President acted as a symbol to mark the long-standing friendship between the two nations. He has further indicated that he was saddening to hear of the passion of the former Indian President Pranab Mukherjee, and he served his nation with great passion. He stated that the demise of former Indian President is a great loss to the South Asian region. On behalf of the Sri Lankan government and the nation, he conveyed condolences to the demise of former Indian President Pranab Mukherjee. A decision has been reached to grant presidential amnesty for prisoners who have been serving jail time for minor offences. Commissioner General of Prisons Shisharo Puldenia mentioned that 444 inmates will be released accordingly. Most of the prisoners will be released from Valikada prison, which is a tally of 83 inmates. A total of 54 prisoners will be released from Pallakala prison, 35 prisoners from Kuravita prison, 30 prisoners from Mahara prison and 28 prisoners from Anuradhapura prison have been granted the presidential amnesty. Accordingly, prisoners in 29 prisons island-wide will be granted a general pardon by the President. The Prisons Commissioner General has mentioned that these prisoners will be released in order to control the prevailing severe condition in prisons in the country. Accordingly, prisoners who are serving jail time for minor offences have been unable to pay fines, and prisoners who are over 65 years of age and have served half of the sentence for minor offences have been released. The Commissioner General of Prisons said that the presidential amnesty will not be granted to any prisoner who has committed serious offences including murder, robbery, rape and child abuse.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa called on Chief Incumbent of Puak Tandava Pantarama Mahaviharaya, Venerable Dehigahena Jnana Vimalathera, and obtained his blessings. Upon his visit to the temple today, the Prime Minister inquired on the well-being of Venerable Dehigahena Jnana Vimalathera. The chief incumbent of the temple then sermonized on the conducts related to Dhamma relevant to the economic, social and political processes of the country. The three-storied chamber of relics newly built at the Viharaya was declared open under the patronage of Minister Namal Rajapaksa.
And with that, we conclude tonight news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.